we have to speak frankly about HIV/AIDS. This is exactly what we did when we fought apartheid, and that could only be done by being outspoken, to talk frankly about sex in order to save the life and future of our children will not destroy, but will actually strengthen our culture. We love our children enough for us to talk about sex.
Long live the spirit of Madiba, long live. Sanbonani and greetings to the world. We are glad to have you on yet another exciting episode of the Purple Couch. First things first, what you need to know is that this show is proudly brought to you by Love Life NGO in association with the National Department of Health and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. Ngegama, I am Sandile Pagoyi, your host. Thank you again for taking the time to join us today. As we celebrate Mandela Month, we acknowledge that he came up with the elbow greeting. I mean, how true is that? For my 2000 out there confused, let me elaborate. Today is about commemorating the spirit of leadership as uTata head. Also talking about all things COVID-19 and how healthcare workers and people on the streets are coping. So that elbow greeting you like so much, thank uTata for it. Coming up are our guests Maraza, who will be expanding more on Mental Health Awareness Month, Nurse Ncebsi, and the Deputy Director Parliamentary Liaison, Tebogo Thothela, who will be talking to us all things COVID-19, youth leadership, and psychosocial support. So do join in on the conversation using our socials. It is at Love Life NGO. Join in on the convo using the hashtag the Purple Couch. Also make sure to click the subscribe button over there and turn on your notifications because you don't want to miss out on any of this fresh content. Yabona. Today's guests are the epitome of youth leadership, carrying out the spirit of Mandela in their respective careers. Today we have Tebogo Thothela, who is the Deputy Director Parliamentary Liaison and a professional nurse, Nurse Ncebsi. Thank you and welcome to the Purple Couch.
Thank you so much for having us.
Now, first things first, guys, let's start off with the simplest question. What does Mandela Day mean for you this year in particular?
I'll definitely go first.
Okay.
Mandela Day means something that we pretty much do on a daily basis. To helping people on a daily basis. It's nothing really new much for the nursing profession on our side. Mandela Day is just much more special purely because of who the man Mandela was and how he emphasizes how much more we should give back. And as the youth, we're trying to teach these people, trying to shape these people. Mandela Day is just special, man.
Yeah. And yourself, Nebza?
I think she really did cover it. But I think for me, it's more... So Mandela Day is a day of service, right? And it's not a one day of service. And I think I love how she puts it because I think for their profession is a daily level of sacrifice. And so for me, this year in particular, Mandela Day is about how do we give back to the fight against COVID-19. So what's our individual role as society? What's our individual role as professionals, those who are in the front line? So it's about how are we giving back this Mandela Day to collectively as a country, fight COVID-19.
That's very, very great. I actually also can't wait for the day. Now to you, Tebogo, for a young person who's interested in the career work that you are doing, let's talk a bit more about the work that you are doing with the MEC. What does it entail, gahle?
Yeah, I wish I knew as well because it's a bit of everything. But in essence, so I work with Dr. Mandela Masu, who's the MEC of Health in Gauteng, and my role is Parliamentary Liaison, which is really anchored about oversight of Parliament and oversight of the legislature to ensure that the executive, which is the MEC, achieves the mandate that we've said we're going to achieve in the legislature. But more than that, and maybe linked to the comment that I made earlier on, which was saying I sometimes ask what I do some days, is because it's the MEC of Health. It's supporting in everything that they do. So the MEC is clinical led, so it means that if it means visiting a Helen Joseph, visiting a Bigim Langeni, we are there to ensure that the MEC is there at the forefront and responding to the conditions that are faced by this province.
Very, very interesting. Now, through the work that you do, how would you say it's very impactful in people's lives out there?
Look, I mean, this is the apex office of health in the province, and Gauteng province is the biggest health system on the continent, actually, just the province itself. If you look at the amount of patients that we see, if you look at the amount of hospitals, and I think when you are sitting there in that office assisting the MEC to achieve that, you effectively are trying to better the life of over 15.2 million people. Now, that's just the population. We're not even looking at the fact that over 22 million people use our facilities in a year. And that's how we ensure, how do we make the system work for our people? How do we ensure that we deliver quality service? How do we ensure that we respond to the many challenges that have almost built up for years, right? And I think that is the office that we're in. And how do we support people like Nurse Ncebsi?
I just wanted to say thank you so much for that.
We're at the forefront who need the support every single day. And who have to face patients, who have to face communities. How do we make their lives easier? I think that's the core of what our office is there for.
We see your job, we see your work.
Thank you.
Doing the Lord's work. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And now to you, Siswam Nurse Ncebsi, as most people think uncomplicated your job is, but being a nurse is one of those hardest jobs out there because it requires selflessness. Can you tell us a bit more about you and the work that you do?
I can tell you so many things. With each department, I've got stories for days. Being a nurse is not easy, especially because we live, already coming into the profession, first of all, we're coming in with a lot of stigma, a lot of generalizations. We are, you know exactly what people think of nurses. And I've also had bad experiences because when I go to a healthcare facility, I'm not going to go there in my uniform. I'll just go there like a normal person. And then you really see what people are saying. And then you find people like us, those of us who are younger in the profession, and we try on a daily basis, every day, to try change that stigmatization. So it's so tricky being a nurse. I mean, the things that we have to deal with on a daily basis. And I wish people knew. Now the nursing that we are in is more than just being a calling, and we're trying to deal with being nurses holistically, because someone will come in and they're sick, but now there's a spiritual aspect to them, there's an emotional aspect to them, there's so many aspects that we try to tackle, because I'm looking at you as, okay, no, this is not just depression. There has to be something much, much more on holistically. So even my nursing, for me personally, I mean, I love my job. Jesus. I love my job. You have no idea. I have so much respect for this profession, and I guess I got that from my mom, because she's also all about this as well.
Was she a nurse?
She's also a nurse.
Shout out.
So Joyce. Joyce, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Her name's Joyce. And I have so much respect for this profession, and I love it so much. So trying to change it bit by bit it's virtually impossible. But when you're my patient, you'll feel it. Yeah.
And
I'm a goddamn nurse.
I feel you, and shout out to you for that. And now nurses are one of the people who are in the front lines, and we need to be grateful for. Let's talk a bit more about COVID-19. How are you making sure that you educate your patients about this virus, and how are you making sure that you don't get contaminated, be it at the clinics or at the hospitals? So
all of our hospitals have placed screening from the entrance. So when you come inside, we'll take your name, we'll take your temperature, we'll screen you, everything, we'll ask you questions. If you're symptomatic, because now even if you're asymptomatic, you don't have any symptoms at all, you could be positive as well. So the moment you come into a healthcare facility, we've got gloves, we've got sanitizations, we've got everything that you need, plus temperature checking and all of those things. So that's just at the hospital. So by the time every patient comes, and because it's a government facility, there's already a line of 10 people. Yeah. So when I'm speaking to you, I want all the other people to hear me as well. You get me?
Loud,
so I'm very, I mean, I have to be loud, you know, it's not private, it's government, you know. So if I need you to, so the moment I'm educating you, I'm educating the next 10 people as well. Because in government, you need to be fast, because manini. So I'm educating you, but I'm educating the other people behind you as well. And then while you are in the line, like I said, I'm telling you, this is what we need to do. You're coming inside here, this is what's going to happen, prevent this and prevent that. And then me, for myself personally, I mean, we have sanitizations all over. I have in the car, in the house, next to my toothbrush, next to anything. And we're also promoting hand wash as well, as much as we possibly can. Because it's not even about wearing gloves. This is something we need to emphasize. It's not about wearing gloves. It's about constant sanitization more than wearing gloves. Because you're wearing gloves, but you're collecting this thing. It's sticking on your gloves. You're touching your face. You're touching everywhere else. So gloves are just messy.
Thank you for those very insightful information. Now to you, Tebza, I mean, you are a survivor of COVID-19. are you 100% fully healed, my guy?
Trust me, I wouldn't be here if that was the case. Okay. But in essence, you make it sound so deep, survivor. But I guess look, I was fortunate. If you listen to what the likes of Professor Karim have been saying and the minister, the category of age that I fall under and the fact that I didn't have any underlying comorbidities meant that I was what we'd call low-risk patient, right? So the indication was that likelihood was that I would get mild symptoms. I'd be able to isolate at home. After a couple of days or so, after 14 days, I'd then be sent out. So I was grateful. I mean, it's not the symptoms that I had were tight chest, loss of taste and smell. But for me, it was just an opportunity to rest because we really don't rest. We really don't rest. And I enjoyed that. So I'm grateful and I'm hoping for more recoveries. It would be great. As we start to peak to see more numbers, particularly in Gauteng, sort of get to that recovery level.
I'm glad you went through that process of recovery and you were also able to access the healthcare that you needed. Now, Siswami, most people don't know that they have COVID-19. So like, for instance, a couple of young people are headed to the clinic for contraceptives, let's say, and would you test those people for COVID-19? And is it within their own rights to say no when you suggest a COVID-19 test?
We don't test, Tina, at the clinics.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you guys have clinics that test, but at the hospital and at the clinics, Tina, we don't test, at least where I'm exposed to. Like I said, we only, sorry.
No.
Oh, okay. Like I said, like we only do screening, Tina. But the moment you're symptomatic, like you've got a sore throat, you're coughing, you have difficulty in breathing, then we'll refer you to the doctor, and the doctor will refer you to a place of testing. But clinics and hospitals, we don't test. As for is it their right, we would obviously advise them to, but because, like according to the Patient's Rights Charter, they have a right to refuse hospital treatment. So yes, I'm not like, I would advise them, I'd be like, please go test, my guy. But the Patient's Rights Charter allows them to refuse hospital treatment. So testing is purely and solely on you as the patient, on you as the one who needs the healthcare service. Yes. But as for me, specifically, I'd just be like, look, dude, test.
Asbonga in that regard. Now, let's dive in a bit more into your career as a nurse. How do you deal with like the everyday challenges and how do you overcome them, especially when it comes into the form of like giving back, because in your job you are giving the service, you are giving service.
Yo, we do a lot. I for one have I have two foundations actually. One is for young girls, Empower Me, Empower Her. We collect pads. I'll take my colleagues that are nurses, doctors, social workers, and then we'll go to different high schools as well. And then we'll just have a whole health day with whatever high school it is that we're at. And then Women's Month we'll do like careers. We will have girls in different profession coming specifically just for the ladies. And then there's another one that's called Blackouts, where we just support black businesses from A to Z, vegetables to, so we just try to promote and expose black businesses. And I forgot your other question. So what's your other question?
The other one was that, like, how do you deal with like the challenges on a daily basis? Seeing that obviously now where you are out there on a daily basis, like giving your service.
Question.
Yeah.
Now I'm much more of a spiritual person. So I believe in a lot of prayer. I believe in fasting. I believe in reading, and I read a lot of books. So that for me, you need a place of escape and of release when you're in a profession like this, because we don't really have work psychologists. So if you're not your own psychologist, or if you don't find your own release, or you place your own place of peace, you will like the things that we see on a daily basis, especially if you work in casualty, the accident and emergency departments. It's so insane, you know, and you wonder why like healthcare workers, people have this thing of, yo, abantu in health by a sela, we drank, you know, like a lot of us would tend to fall onto that, or just smoking weed, or you know, for those who smoke weed, you know, or whatever it is that you're gonna fall onto, but you need a positive place to. So for me, it would be reading, and I love Paulo Coelho, so I'm onto his books. And if I'm not reading, I'm fasting, but something much more spiritually, because everything about me has to be God-based. I can't speak to people, you know.
Well, I'm glad you have a coping mechanism in your work. Now, to close off this topic, Bafetu, how would you say that young people should approach their everyday lives with the leadership spirit like uTata Madiba had back in the day?
Okay. Sorry, I was just caught up on what you were saying. So I think firstly, there's something that we need to realize as young people, is that, and I think Mandela's book, since we're speaking about reading, President Mandela's book, in the end he says, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but he basically says that once I climbed this particular hill and I was on top of the hill, I then began to see the amount of challenges and other hills that I still have to climb. And I think this generation needs to appreciate that the previous generation went as far. And the responsibility that we have got, I mean, when we speak about economic freedom, when we speak about the inequality gap, when we speak about pay gaps. I mean, the point that she's making is quite beautiful about blackout, for example, about how do we support black companies, how do we keep money within our communities. And I think that's one thing that we really need to do as young people. We need to understand that, and it's not Vukuzenzele so much, but it's about how do we support each other as a young group. Because it was easier for the previous generation because it was one enemy that you could identify. In our case, you can't really identify. There's not one sole enemy. We're dealing with a number of other challenges. And how do we then support each other
even
in
ourselves
those challenges?
as black people.
Exactly.
Now on to you, my sister, to the very same question.
Yo, like you almost took everything out because I always have a lot of words as well to say.
Okay.
What was your question again?
The question is like, how would you advise young people to take up on the leadership spirit uTata Madiba had back in the day?
I love what you like that. Now your question actually reminded me, like he said, like we have such a good foundation. I feel like our parents, by as far as getting us everything that we need, we're a bit of a lazy generation because we're not carrying on the legacy as hard as Abantu like uTata Mandela went for us. We should be doing so much more. I mean, when you look at the Jewish community, for instance, and how they keep, like, I mean, look at how they're into property economics and they're keeping, like,
growing
they're keeping it within themselves. And us as black people, I think, not even black people, just as a youth, if we can learn to support one another. And it's like just supporting sweet small things like that. It's about running away from Pick and Pay and tenga itombolo from the woman next door. Small
And
things
not
like
asking for a
that.
discount.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, yes.
not asking for a
Yes.
discount.
And just supporting black
yeah.
people and not asking for discounts in any way. Or just as a youth. Look, yes, you said a lot. Thank you so much. I'm out of it.
So basically, we just gotta stick together. Now, for people who want to interact with you out there on your socials, where can they find you guys? Let me start with you, Tebo.
Oh my gosh. It's at Press Ankara.
Say
on
that
Twitter.
again?
Press Ankara.
Okay.
With a Z.
With a Z, yeah. Prez
Okay.
Sankara, after Thomas Sankara. Just, he's another day. Press Ankara on Twitter and on Instagram.
And you, my sister?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Google, anywhere you'll find me. Trust me, you'll always find me. Ncebsi Maloba. And then your favorite nurse on Twitter.
Nkosi.
And in real life.
Thank you again. And from me to you, to the lovely guest on the Purple Couch, we thank you.
Dumelang basha ko lapeng le bua le o mongwe wa di-counselor tsa mo Love Life Contact Center. Gompieno re bua ka kgang e masisi gender based violence ka tlhekefetso ya bong. Re lebella gore e na le matsapa a tseneletseng a tsamaelanang le go sikinya monagano wa motho. Go le gantsi re tsaya batho re ba lebe fela gore ga ba itekanetse mo mmeleng re nagana gore ba siame ka ba fodile mme seo ga se nnete. Go na le mekgwa e le mentsi e leng gore ba kgona gore ba tlhekefetsege segolobogolo re lebella monagano jaaka kgatelelo ya monagano kapa yona depression, post-traumatic distress disorder e leng gore e tla betlhagela morago ga tiragalo eo. Ka jalo re a kopa gore se tse botlhofo ke kgang e bokete e tlhokang gore o e tseetsia. Ga go le jalo re kopa gore ikgolaganye le rona gonne re teng go buisana le wena go tsamaya le wena mmogo tsela e ya pholo gore kwa bofelong o kgone ke ra thuso e maleba e o itlhokang. Re teng for wena. Se re se kopang ke gore gona jaanong romela please call me mo nomoreng ya 083 323 1023 mme di-counselor tsa rona di malala laotswe go thusana le wena.
He is one of the coolest rappers to hit Mzansi, and we featured him on last year's Chats on our Twitter view on a very fundamental topic, which is mental health awareness. He was also a Love Life groundbreaker back in the days. Now, he also had a thing or two to say about his mental wellness journey. Check this out.
Sanibonani everybody. My name is Pamandla Gamshongo, aka Maraza. The last time you saw me, well, you didn't really see me. It was like a Twitter conversation with Love Life, and we were talking about mental health awareness and my own battles with it. It's been a very long journey, and besides me obviously needing a haircut now way more than ever, it's been ups and downs. And I don't mean my hair up and down. By the way, this mess here is not because of depression. It's because of the coronavirus. I haven't been to a salon in over 4 months or something. My brother once cut my hair And that was not good for my mental health or his. As far as my own state of mind, it's been lots of ups and downs, but it's been a lot more ups than downs. More than anything, I've been trying my best to confront these things head on. The past 4 or 5 months of isolation have actually not been as hard on me as they have been on everyone else, because I'm very reclusive. Enormous anxiety with the outside world. I shrug and laugh it off, but it's a very powerful impact on my life. I'm taking things one step at a time. I even started a show called The Life So Far, or The Life So Far, depending on how you read it. In one of the first episodes, I'm addressing exactly that. Mental health is not something that gets cured. It's something that gets conquered. And the battle to conquering mental health is a lifelong one. But it's not always the same difficulty level. I can't give you advice from a professional standpoint because I'm not a mental health professional. But from my past experiences with everything from depression and anxiety, I think that for me, at least, my goal has been to get to a point where I'm a lot more aware of the irrational thoughts that I have in my mind. And I'm a lot more aware that those thoughts are, 1, irrational, 2, very often based on nothing more than just chemical imbalances in my brain. The more I grapple with that fact, the more I confront that fact and that idea, the more resistant I become to falling in the hole as deeply as I fell during the last attack. So each time I go in and out of depression, I don't go in as deeply as the time before. And for me, that's really what has worked. I'm very open about it, and that is key. That is the number one thing for my personal journey, in the fight against depression and anxiety. It helps me more often than not remind myself that things are nowhere near as bad as they seem in my head. Like I said at the beginning, it's always ups and downs, but what I aim for is to have the ups outweigh the downs. What you want to try and do is spend less time in the downs and more time in the ups. When you get the balance right, it no longer becomes the life of a person with a mental health issue, it just becomes the life of a person, because all life is ups and downs. I hope you're surrounded by people who love you and people who understand. I hope you're taking your own health seriously, whether it's coronavirus or the loner virus. I'll see you soon.
Asibonge lapho kuwe Maraza, and good luck with all your future endeavors. As we all know, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, together with Love Life, plays a huge role in the development of young people's active lifestyles. It's exciting and interesting to also see other initiatives chip in, like FIFA. Check this out.
It has been 10 years since the World Cup in South Africa. This legacy pitch is a good reminder of that spectacular event. FIFA has partnered with Love Life to promote Sustainable Development Goal number 3. SDG 3 is about promoting good health and well-being. We achieve this through sports, and in particular, football. The young people of Tebogo Thothela here in Qwaqwa are able to practice and play football at this legacy pitch. While they practice and play sport, they are given health messaging and directed to the nearest health facility for health services. There are untold benefits of an active lifestyle which addresses inactivity, obesity, tobacco, drug and substance abuse, hypertension, poor diet, and poor access to recreation. This legacy pitch is aimed at addressing these challenges, promoting good health and well-being for the community. We have seen good and selfless acts from the community and from people like Brafusi who come to this youth center to coach and train young people in the spirit of Mandela. Remember, tomorrow is World Mandela Day.
This is The Health Invasion with Love Life.
My name is Mrs. This is Selena.
Ek is Rochelle White.
Today my topic is
why dry sex is not a good idea.
Remember to follow us on social media to check out more health invasions. Mondays and Wednesdays at 11 a.m. proudly brought to you by the National Department of Health and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. Keeping the Mandela spirit up, we took to the street to check out what your Mandela spirit is. Talking about interesting and insightful segments, Shirley, one of our groundbreakers all the way from Limpopo, is our new official entertainment correspondent. If you have been struggling in fashion just a little and need some guidance, Shirley is your girl to talk to. Take it away, my girl.
So today's topic, let's talk about the do's and don'ts of winter, the type of things that you're allowed to do in winter, you can do in winter, and of course the type of fashion that you can wear in winter. I better want to call it. We see things outside. So let's just help each other out and then I share my views and I'm going to share my experiences also just a bit. So anyways, remember this is about us, not about me. So anyway, my mask. So let's talk about the do's and don'ts. Before we get into fashion, let's talk about the do's and the don'ts. Guys, the first thing that we as people need to do, apart from the fact that we are asked to sanitize our hands all the time, we have to tell ourselves that I need to keep clean, I need to be clean. In order to avoid contagious diseases, viruses, bacteria, you need to wash your hands. In winter, not only in winter, but in winter it's very much important that you wash your hands to avoid diseases such as flu, you know what I'm saying? So we're trying to fight the virus here. So please, the first thing that you need to do is wash your hands. And of course, have enough fluids. Guys, it doesn't matter what we're drinking. I'm having tea right now, but it doesn't really matter. Can we at least focus on the fact that you need to drink a lot of fluids, be it tea, be it a soup, hot soup, you know what I'm saying? Be it warm water at night. Have that once in a while. So again, exercising in winter is hard. Like, it's really, really hard for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard working out in winter, but as part of a health routine, you have to work out in winter. You have to exercise in winter. It's really, really necessary to do that. Even though you don't work out as much as you do in hot seasons, but in winter you have to work out to keep diseases away, such as different kind of diseases. Now we're talking about flu. In order to kick away flu, you need to work out more often. And then also you need to get enough sleep. They say getting enough sleep is important. I asked a friend of mine, she's like, yeah, it's very much important. You need to really get enough sleep so that your immune system doesn't get attacked or anything. So again, snuggle up. I don't know about snuggling, but I would really love to snuggle. I mean, hi. Anyways, and again, it's really very much important to this is a time to bond with family. I'm not saying go and visit your family members, but then again, the family that you stay with at home, try to share board games. It's a time to get to know each other, to bond more, because we're trying to keep warm, trying to stay in the same room, keeping each other warm by playing board games. That's how you get to know your family and connect. Anyways, moving up to fashion, guys, without a waste of time. Wearing a legging is not a problem, but a legging in winter cannot be pants. That will not keep you warm. At least try to wear your legging and your jean on top. That can keep you warm, you know? And then doing vestry, like, your wardrobe cannot really be for summer only. You can customize your clothes. Be classic. Be classic about it. I mean, you can wear your skirt, but then wear those warm leggings underneath. As I said, you cannot wear a legging alone. You can wear those fashionable leggings and wear a skirt on top, like a nice skirt. I'm talking about girls here. Wear a nice skirt, and then also you can wear your legging and wear your jean on top. Like, try to keep warm to avoid catching flu. You know what I'm saying? And then also try to be classic. Try to be classic. I mean, we have the type of clothes that you can, like those kind of blazers, the classic blazers. You can wear them, but then underneath, can you try to be warm wear a bottleneck, you know what I'm saying? I mean, some of us have this, so let's not talk about us. Anyway, honey, so as you can wear your type of things, a bottleneck inside, try to wear a warm jacket inside, a wool jacket inside, or try to wear the bottleneck, and then if you're trying to avoid wearing much clothes, because some of us don't wear much clothes, you just wear the bottleneck and then a jacket on top.
I'm Sihle Mdletshe. I'm your host for this segment. Good day, South Africa. As we know, it's Mandela Month. It's Mandela Spirit. What are you doing for 67 minutes? Mandela went to prison to fight for our rights, for our democracy, for us to get better education. Today here, I have a school learner, an NGO organization, and a teacher who are willing to share with us what they will be doing for 67 minutes. Mandela Day. Today's segment is about Mandela Spirit. I'm here with a learner, a grade 12 learner, who is dedicated to serve 67 minutes to the community by giving back, doing just a simple thing to put a smile on someone else's face. Her name is Tebogo Thothela, a learner from Butumelong Secondary School. Tebogo, how are you?
Fine, thanks, and you?
I am good. What's the Mandela Spirit for you?
Mandela Spirit. As we learn Mandela's history at school, we find out that Mandela fought for rights and responsibility. One of our rights is free education that Mandela fought for, and the mother tongue languages.
Oh, okay, you have heard her. Now, what will you be doing on Mandela Day to dedicate your time?
On Mandela Day, we're going to a Sawata church where we're gonna be volunteering on the kitchen soap to giving from there to the community.
Beggy. Next to me, I have a community activist who's also a founder of the 40/40 movement for giving back to the community by distributing 40 pairs of shoe schools to the kids around our community. Good day, Butema. How are you? Hi, I'm good. So since it's Mandela Month, what's the spirit for Mandela Month?
Mandela Month, spirit Sakona is giving back to the community and assisting where we can.
Assisting where you can, that's nice. Hey, it's a beautiful cause for a beautiful community. What are you going to do specifically for 67 minutes on Mandela Day?
First of all, again, get well, it's just a flu, then the COVID is over. And then secondly, we were planning, because we could not foresee future, we're planning to do again a giving package for 40 days for the kids. But this time we were going to give more than that, because it's 67 minutes for Mandela. So we're going to give 67 kids the pair of shoes. Unfortunately, due to this process, COVID, we're still holding on, but we're hoping that by December everything will be on par and then we'll start contributing.
Thank you so much for your time.
Kenzie.
As Nizele again from a community activist, Uziyana Uzobenzani for 67 minutes. Like telling wami nginosisinobuhle naye omuntu omusha elokishini lethu ofuna ukwenza umehluko. Sawubona. Njani? Ngiyaphila. For 67 minutes as the Mandela Month, what is the spirit for you?
As says Nazi from Freedom Charter, Nelson Mandela fought for us for freedom, which is civil right now to see South Africa. So for 67 minutes we are working on doing a big changes.
Oh, okay. What will you be doing for 67 minutes as is Mandela Day on Saturday?
Njengoba ku 67 minutes sizobe sinatha abantu abadala abogogo abangakhona ukuzenzela sizobe siwashela. From now we have 2 houses esizobe sibhizi ngazo sibayenzela sibatinela for 67 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. There you have it. You have heard what our community members will be doing for 67 minutes. Now, it's hashtag Mandela Spirit. What will you be doing? The conversation continues on our social media platform. It's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Live Life NGO. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube on daily basis. Love Life brought to you by Purple Couch.
Like Shirley's advice? Well, let us in on your thoughts on the comment section or use hashtag the Purple Couch on social media. You are still tuned in into the Purple Couch, proudly brought to you by Love Life NGO. Visit us on www.lovelife.org.za. The Purple Couch will be on your YouTube screens more often than you think. So if you have clicked subscribe on our YouTube channel, you won't miss out on any of this edutainment. I would like to thank our amazing guests, Nurse Ncebsi, Tebogo Thothela, as well as Maraza for being able to share their journeys and thoughts with us. To the National Department of Health and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, siyabonga. Remember, the conversation continues. It's hashtag the Purple Couch at Love Life NGO. Thank you again for joining us today. Remember, you can let us know on what you would like us to discuss on the next episode of The Purple Couch. From me, Sandy Lepahoyi, till the next time, fam.